Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gotham Sports Machine. I'm your host, Jack Healy, joined by my co-host, Mark Healy. And today we're going to talk some baseball. How are you feeling today, Mark?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. The trade deadline is come and gone. The Yankees, and the Mets, both were. The Yankees weren't very active. I'm sure we're going to talk about what they did and what they didn't do. And of course, the Mets made a bunch of trades and brought back a bunch of different players. And obviously, the Mets season's been over for a while. But they certainly did make some deals that people either agree with or don't agree with. There are players that they thought that a lot of people thought would get traded that didn't. So obviously, a lot to get to tonight.
Yeah, I think it's more about the moves that weren't made on the Yankees side of things. I like the guys they got, and George Lombard called up last night, hit a home run in his debut. It's pretty electric. It's gonna kind of cloud everyone for a little bit. No one's gonna really think about anything other than that. But just the fact that they added an outfielder and a first baseman in Heliot Ramos and Luis Garcia Jr. Good players, solid players. They're having good seasons. But is this them cashing in on Judge for this year?
Well, and, that's a great question, Jack. And Brian Cashman couldn't answer it yesterday. He was on WFAN with Greg Carton and CMAC, and he kind of there was a lot of word salad. I don't think they know. I don't. I think that they're maybe preparing for the worst, hoping for the best, but I don't think they know. I don't think they know if Judge is coming back. I don't think they know if Stanton is coming back. So they felt that they were best served, at least for right now, by acquiring some guys who could hit. Let's be honest, the Yankees have not been good offensively since Judge has been sidelined, and Stanton obviously has been invisible a lot of the year. So they added a couple of guys with pop. Both guys, uh, you know, certainly are going to help them offensively, but neither of them are a middle of the bat type of slugger. They both have good numbers. Luis Garcia Jr. in particular certainly is a guy that can hit and can hit home runs at Yankee Stadium. But again, this was the first time since I believe 2016, so it's a decade that the Yankees did not acquire a bullpen arm. It's usually something that Brian Cashman does every year, and particularly with a guy like Luke Weaver out there, who had obviously pitched well for the Yankees, a guy who's pitched really well for the Mets and had a year, on his contract for next year. Certainly would have been a perfect addition for the Yankees. And a lot of people speculate that it's because the Yankees and the Mets don't make deals, and that's true, I guess, to a certain extent. But Cashman and Stearns, they have a relationship. It's not like the Wilpons own the Mets anymore, anymore, and they're going to be afraid to make a trade with the Yankees. So to me, I guess Cashman alleged to it, and he didn't, mention the Mets, but he basically said that the prices were really high. And, but if you're a Yankee fan, you're like, so what? Right? If you're a Yankee fan, you're clearly have the best pitching staff, right? In the AL. A lot of people expect the Yankees to win the AL. So do you want to do that kind of hoping and like sitting on your hands, like or do you want, as a fan, I would have wanted the Yankees to acquire at least one bullpen arm, if not two. Yes, they did help themselves by getting a couple of bats, and they've had way too many of those 2-1, 3-1, 4-3 games. They're pitching at some point. Joel Sherman was talking about this the other day with John Heyman from the New York Post on their podcast. They were talking about how the starters and even the bullpen are gassed because they've had to pitch so much because the Yankees have not really provided a lot of offense since Judge is out of the lineup. So you know, I think that Brian Cashman, I think that Hal Steinbrenner, I think they're at a point where they don't want to spend either the money or the assets in prospects, or their prospects aren't as good as they think they are. As far as the other, everybody thinks that teams, and we've said this before on the show, everybody thinks that the teams use Baseball America's top 100 prospects or ESPN's top 100 prospects to determine how they make deals. They don't. Every team has its own grading system and valuation system when it comes to prospects. So just because you think your prospects are one way or the other, another team may not have that same opinion about your prospects. So what I think was, I think the prices were really high. And I think that a lot of teams are worried about the pending lockout. And a lot of teams just didn't want to get into a bidding war or overpay to win a championship this year. And that, I think, inherently is the problem when you're talking about the Yankees, because most Yankees fans think that this particular owner and this general manager, or whatever his title is, Brian Cashman, just don't value winning the way that the Yankees used to. And when you look at the record again, 10 years, it's been 10 years where the Yankees have picked up a bullpen arm, at the deadline every year, and this year they don't when they probably really did. Even a starter. I mean, they could have used a starter or at least one of those swing guys.
I mean,
In
it's
that
nonsense.
bullpen,
It's
right?
nonsense. It's nonsense that they couldn't pull the trigger on something. I mean, oh, they're valuable prospects. Yeah, how valuable is Anthony Volpe right now in his ninth stint in AAA? Like, even Spencer Jones, every time he comes up, like he has moments where he looks good, and he has moments where
Right.
he can be like, oh, Judge 2.0. But like even Judge, pretty early, you knew he was legit when he came to the bigs. So like for them to be confident in McMahon and Wells for this postseason run is ridiculous to me. I mean, be saying it all year. They went in the offseason, they didn't address it. Now the deadline, they didn't address it. Like, yeah, you have guys you can put in these positions. You can put Caballero at third or Jazz at third, but they're already down guys. They're already like putting guys in places that they don't normally play. So you're men down. So you just can't put these guys in different spots. So when you have to play McMahon every other day, more than every other day at this point, and Wells every other day, when they're hitting barely 200, it's good. Now it might be you might be able to get away with it. They've obviously been getting away with it all year. But when it comes postseason, you start playing these better teams every single day, and you can't get away with it. Yes, they got Heliot Ramos. Yes, they got Garcia. Good players. But again, the bullpen. Did they go in here? No, they lost bullpen. Was Duvall good? Was it maybe like an addition by loss
Right.
in some measures? Maybe. But to like to write home and be like, oh, happy and like great deadline for the Yankees. It's just it was okay. I mean, they didn't go out and like take any huge risks or but maybe you needed to. Again, there might not be baseball next year. If there's not baseball next year, you telling me you couldn't have traded some of these prospects for one of these 1 year expiring year deals or guys that had just not like I don't know. Price is too high. That's BS to me for the Yankees. Like
Well, I think that, when it comes to like you made a great point, they really needed a catcher. They didn't get it. And yet the Rays got Liam Hicks and the Ray and the Red Sox got Rushman. So, both of their rivals in the division, got the catchers that they were looking for. Now, again, what do you base the price tag on, right? The Orioles gave up or got a lot. The Red Sox gave up a lot. to get Rushman, who's on the IL. Um, but and clearly is not the player everyone thought he was going to be. But he's definitely an upgrade over Austin Wells. Um, and I know that the Mets. It was reported today that the Mets were shopping. Who's
Perez or Alvarez.
Alvarez, Francisco Alvarez. Thanks, Jack. That the Mets actually were shopping him, and then they had apparently they were talking. I doubt it was the Yankees, but they were talking with a team, and they were trying to build a package around that other team's top prospect, and it fell through because the medicals on the prospect weren't looking good. So there were catchers available other than Hicks and other than Rushman. So to me, I just when you're a fan of a team that has not won a World Series since 2009, with the payroll that the Yankees have, with their ability. I mean, yes, they won a pennant a few years ago, but at the end of the day, if you're a Yankee fan, like people say, oh, it's entitlement, but it's really not. I mean, that's who the Yankees are. The Yankees are supposed to win the World Series like that. If I'm a Yankee fan, that's how I think. And like Derek Jeter used to say, if we don't win the World Series, the season was a failure. And that's the mindset that a lot of Yankee fans have. So when you go out and you're contending, but you're not like dominating the division. So why didn't you go out and pull the trigger, like you said, on a couple of deals that could really help, change your trajectory. I don't think the Yankees did that. As much as you want to sit here and tell me that, Luis Garcia Jr. and Heliot, what's his last name? Heliot.
Ramos.
I just wrote a story about him, Heliot Ramos. I can't remember his name. Great. Uh, both of those guys are good players, nice players, but they're not game changers. I don't think so, but we'll see, right? I mean, that's the whole thing about making a trade. You trade some prospects that they probably weren't very high on, and they got back players that they feel that they could be useful. But you really didn't address the needs that you really needed, which was a catcher, a bullpen arm, and maybe even a starter. And when you see other teams like the Dodgers go out and get Screwball, and they have plenty of prospects. They didn't even use their top four prospects to get Screwball. So, I mean, some teams pull the trigger and spend and do what they want to do, and people want to say that's bad for baseball. No, it's not. It's pro sports. This is the MLB. Like that's how people roll. They want to win. So when people start talking about, well, the contracts didn't really line up and, oh, we saved some money on the back end. Fans don't want to hear that. Fans want to go to the games and they want to win games and they want to win championships. So I don't even know when they make those speeches, Jack, I don't even know who those speeches are for. Who are they for? The stakeholders? Because they're certainly not for the fans.
When you are a front office and you go into a deadline or an off season and you have needs and you're doing anything but addressing those needs, eh, it's ridiculous. Like, what are you getting paid for? Why do you have a job? Like, it's not that hard. It really is not. Like, in some situations, you are handicapped by certain things,
Right.
whether it be the actual cap, whether it be your roster, how it's built. Like, you could be stuck in bad contracts or whatever. But yes, the Yankees do have some bad contracts, but they still have prospects because they're the Yankees. Their prospects, again, they talk them up so much. Like you were saying before, like maybe they are better than they think they are. But then why don't you trade them? Well, who's the last prospect to actually pan out? Like it's like one in every five.
Well, Volpe was the guy they didn't want to deal, and now he's got sent down, and they brought up Lombard Jr.
And
And he already looks like he's a better player.
they
After
held
one
on
game,
to
he looks like he's a better player.
so many of those guys they held on to for dear life, like Glaber, Gary Sanchez, uh, what's his face? Um, who's the third? Andujar. Like all these guys, like They were treating them like they were the second coming. And some of them were good, solid players, but think of what they could have gotten at some of these deadlines if they just bought all the way in and traded even just one or two of them. But they let most of them go or let them play to the point where they were garbage and got garbage value for them, which is what's happening with Volpe right now, which is what's going to happen with some of these other guys. Lombard could be one of the diamonds in the rough, like Judge was, but the prospects always are a crapshoot. So when
Yeah.
you're a good team, you're a contending team, and you're holding on to prospects like, oh, maybe we could be good. This guy could be good in 2033. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? And if you want to go to the other side of town and Mr. Stearns and Mr. Genius over there and how he treated our deadline, like, oh, great, great. We got all these great prospects that play the same positions as the only good players we have right now. We got a bunch of shortstops, second basemen, and outfielders. Thanks. Thanks. I'll go watch them play in 5, 6 years when you're already fired. I mean, it does nothing for me. When like obviously you can look back on it 5 years from now. Oh, we got that guy. How did we get that guy for him? Like with everybody with the PCA trade now, it's like, oh, wow, why would the Mets ever do that? Oh. And in the moment, it seemed like a great move. I mean, Baez, the second he came over, he had the best numbers he's ever had in his career when he came to New York.
It's true. It's
Had
true.
he
And PCA was hurt.
Yeah.
He wasn't even like like he was a prospect because he was a high pick, but I mean, he was hurt. He was hurt, and he was a guy that really came out of nowhere to. And again, he's not the player everybody thinks he is either. I mean, he had a great year last year, but he had a terrible second half, and he's been very inconsistent this year. I mean, you look at his numbers overall, and he's
I
got
mean,
good
God,
numbers.
he's a top three MVP candidate. I don't know about
He's
inconsistent.
he's an inconsistent player.
If he's right now, if and he's hurt, PCA is probably the NL MVP.
I mean, he's having a good year. I mean, yeah, he's hitting 280, 24 homers, 65 RBI. I mean, you're right.
As a Gold Glove center fielder, like he's as much as I don't like him,
I know, I don't like him either.
I don't like how the trade has been treated. Like he is, it's sickening how that just keeps happening to the teams that I root for. And it's usually New York teams. I mean, whether it's the Knicks, the Mets. I mean, it seems like always we trade the guy and you look back on it 10 years like, oh, you had that guy and you let him go. Are you kidding? But again, you can't do that. You can't be like that if you're a contending team. You can't be like that.
Well, look, this is the story of Pete Crow Armstrong. Just to talk about him, right? Just for a second, right? Okay, so he had a sick June. In June, he was sick. He had 381. He had an OPS of 1.2, right? But in the second half so far, he's only hitting 250. I mean, his OPS is high. He's got 12 RBIs in 18 games.
Let's say 18
Let's
years.
see what he does in the second half. I'm just telling you, and he rakes at Wrigley Field like everybody does. I, and again, but at the time of the deal, he was hurt. Like so, it wasn't like, and they got Baez. Now, a lot of people wanted to give Baez the contract that he got from Detroit. I mean, they did make him a good offer. It wasn't like they just traded for him
He
and
was
they
an
paid him
all-star. I
nothing.
mean, he should if he can't, who knows
But he was terrible
how
for Detroit.
I mean, he is terrible now, but he was an all-star when he first got there, and Detroit's just not good as they are in like
Right.
they had 1 year and now everybody on that team is not good anymore, almost. So I
But
mean,
but the guy that they got from the Cubs in the Clay Holmes deal, Jefferson Rojas, is that
he
his
looks
name?
good, yeah.
He looks like a player. He looks like a player. But again, like you said, he plays shortstop.
But
He
yeah,
plays third
second base and
base.
third base.
He
So
plays
maybe
second base. You got Marcus Semien, who's making gajillion dollars at second. You got Bo Bichette, who plays third. He's going to be here for another couple of years. And, unless they trade Lindor in the winter, which people have said is a possibility. Like you're not going to see this guy for 2 years. So you traded again. You gave up Clay Holmes, who you could always re-sign in the offseason. And I think he would be open to coming back here. But you know, uh, uh, you gave up a guy who could, you know, I don't know. To me, did Stearns get the best value for the deals that he made? Yeah, but who cares? The season's over. These guys are at least 2 years away, most of them that they traded for. They didn't trade for anyone that can help them now or in 2027. They traded their best reliever in Luke Weaver, who signed for next year. So that's another guy you're going to have to replace, and he was signed for 12 million for next year. So, and the Mets had to send money in the deal on top of that. So, that's another guy you're going to have to replace for next year. You're probably going to have to get at least two starters. You're probably going to have to get, another bat or two, because we don't know what Bichette's going to do. We don't know if he's going to opt out or not. You got to hope that Juan Soto is 100% healthy to start the season if we have baseball. It's just, look, prospects are suspects until they prove it at the major league level. End of story. I have seen in my 30 some odd years, 40 years of watching the Mets, I can name you about 50 guys that were top prospects, number one draft picks, that did not make it, that were labeled can't miss prospects, not by the Mets, but by Baseball America or by ESPN. The names, last name's Millage, Alex, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I did a post about it yesterday.
Rutschman was supposed to be the best
Right.
pitcher since Posey.
And he produced he
His
produced
rookie
when he
year,
first
he was
came up.
great, and then but since then he hasn't really.
Because teams adjust. If you have any hole in your game, if you have any hole in your game, like teams are going they're going to exploit it. That's why consistency is so key. And when you put the weight of the world on these guys, and look to the Mets' credit, to they've been pretty developmental wise. They've been pretty good with Benj and Ewing. Carson Benj and AJ Ewing. They've been good. Those guys have been good. But, neither of them are lighting the world on fire. They have talent. They look good. But, I mean, they look like good major league players. I don't know if they're going to be great. And it's, and they didn't trade Luis Robert Jr. And now he's going to be getting, Andy Green said yesterday, that he's going to be getting the majority of the reps in center field. Why? For what reason? For what reason?
He's making $20 million. That's why.
Yeah, so what? They stink.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Who cares? Let him play left field. Why is AJ Ewing not playing center field every day? AJ Ewing should be playing center field every day. Carson Bench should be playing right field every day, and they should be batting 1 and 2 in the order.
The
You got
future of
the
this
door
team.
third. It's just right now, the only thing the Mets should be doing is developing young players. That's the only thing they should be doing. Why is Marcus Semien in the lineup every day? And again, how are you if Brett Beatty has value because he has one more year of control, I believe, or at least one or two, why not play him every day at second base? Maybe you could trade him for something in the winter. But if those guys don't get to play, Vientos is hurt, so you can't, and he has value because of the fact he is a guy that has had some success in the major leagues and he has control. But these young guys are not going to. Jared Young, we got to play him every day at first base. Polanco has been awful. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And people are still they're like, oh wow, David Stearns, he cooked at the deadline because he got prospects back. How is it? He did a terrible job this year. Terrible. So, so he did his job by getting some prospects at the deadline because the team is terrible. But like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get the mindset of people who celebrate these transactions like they mean anything in the win column because they don't.
Future of this team is just all over the place. It's like he wanted to be win now, and the second they didn't make the playoffs last year, he was on the clock. So instead of instead of building the best possible team he could have, well, he thought he was. Apparently, he thought he was. He blew it up. Basically, it turned into experiment this season. The experiment blew up. So now what are we left with?
A burnt lab. That's
Bits and
a
pieces.
lab that's on fire. That's
And
what we're.
like this season's dead and done. Next season, like what is he supposed to have this miracle off season next year where
Well,
he
that's what they're
picks
saying.
up?
That's what they're saying, Jack. Oh, he's going to have these assets to move in the winter.
But I thought Steve Cohen said he wasn't spending any money.
They're going to have to get creative, is what he said.
Yeah, we saw what happened when he got creative with money. How is he gonna get creative without money?
I don't know.
The best thing that
No.
could happen for the Mets next year is a lockout. But I don't even know if that's the best, because the best thing is getting this guy out of a job. I mean, there's no way that it's like we're all waiting for him to pull this miracle, and we're all like, oh, this is where he's gonna do it. This is when he's gonna have they make the moves and make the adjustments. I'm still waiting.
Well, here's the thing, Jack. He has enough acolytes out there, whether it's on social media or in the press box. He has enough people that believe in his vision or that believe that he knows what he's doing. That I mean, I'm certainly not going to fall for it again. I was very positive at the beginning of the season. I thought the Mets were good enough to win the NL East. I'm not going to get tricked again. To me, prove it on the field. Prove it on the field because otherwise, I'm just going to. To me, I don't know how you could pick the Mets to do anything in 20. If let's just assume there's baseball, right? I mean, again, we have to see what moves he makes. But even if he makes two or three really good moves, I thought Bichette was going to rake here. He has been awful. I mean, I know he hit a home run last night. So what?
Like
The guy's been invisible.
you have to bank on him completely bouncing back. You're gonna have to find a first baseman. You're gonna have to find a whole new bullpen. You have to refigure out that entire starting rotation. And he's gonna do that without any money.
Without any money and the two prospects that they got back in the deadline. It just doesn't make any sense.
Done.
Well, they got Benny Agbayani's son, so they're going to be okay. All due respect, I love Benny Agbayani, but
And
I mean,
the one thing he did do is load up the rest of the NL.
yep,
He gives Rayleigh to the Phillies, gives Holmes and Taylor to the Cubs, and the Cubs actually had a good deadline. They probably had the best deadline. They get five good arms and Tyrone Taylor. I mean, their
yep.
problem has always been pitching. Now they go out and get five quality arms right before their postseason run. And
Remember when Freddie Peralta wanted $200 million? Remember that?
yeah, 8 years, 200 million.
And all the
And
fans on Twitter are going, "Oh, you got to re-sign him right now. You got to extend him right now. Don't let him go
I
to free agency."
before
And he
he
goes,
said anything about a number or anything, after his first few starts, I was like, you have to if you're because they were 7-4 the last time they actually had a good record this entire year was 2 weeks in, and then they died. I was like, you got to resign him because if you're a legit baseball team, you need a legit ace. And that lasted for about 9 seconds.
"Yep."
I think
He
he
went
got
out and got
shelled as
ripped
in.
last night. He went out and got ripped. I
Yeah.
think he gave up 7 runs last night in his Rays debut.
So I guess the Rays pitching lab can't solve him either.
Well, you know what? They may eventually, before the end of the season, maybe they fix whatever's wrong with him. I think we're going to find out at the end of the year that he was hurt, and we're going to find out that he changed his mechanics coming into the spring because he was hurt, and we'll find that out. They probably didn't want to bring it up because he was in his contract year. I think that's what we're going to find out. I mean, I don't know that, but I don't know how a guy goes from what he was last year to what he was this year, just because he was pitching in New York. I don't buy that. I think he's a good athlete, keeps himself in great shape. He's a great guy. I don't think that I don't think he's 100%, and he's cost himself a lot of money. That's for sure. Um, and I do think one of the reasons that the Mets did not give him an extension, and why they didn't give Holmes an extension, is because there's going to be a lockout, and there's a very good chance that with whatever happens, whether there's a lockout or not, whatever the new CBA calls for, the payrolls are not going to be as high as they once were. So the prices are going to go down. So why pay a premium now when you don't have to? Especially since the Mets are terrible.
Yep. I
You know,
mean,
so
there's
football can't come fast enough, my
yeah,
friend.
there's really not much else to say. I mean,
Football can't come fast enough. I mean, look, like I wrote today, to me, like, and I know you have these same memories of going to games, going to City Field. Like, we didn't really care whether they were good or not good. We just went, we had fun. We had a great time. The last one, we went to the game with our cousins the other night. They lost, they were terrible, but we had fun, right? We had great seats, we enjoyed it. But that's not something that it's just not enough for how expensive it is, and what is entailed to have to go to a game these days. It's not like when I was a kid and my dad would take me and my friends and the tickets were like nothing, and we sat in an empty Shea Stadium when the Mets were terrible. But then the payoff was 84, Dwight Gooden, 85, Gary Carter, 86, world champs. There was a payoff there. And like, I don't know if we're going to have that payoff anytime soon here. So it's a little bit harder to buy in. But we're Met fans, and it's in our DNA. We're always going to root for the Mets. And we can watch a game, and if they win, we can enjoy it. But, it's just hard to like spend a show talking about the Mets and the Yankees when there's just no juice. There's just no juice for these teams right now. And maybe the Yankees prove us wrong. Maybe the Yankees prove us wrong. Maybe they go on a run. Maybe they go to the World Series.
well,
You
no,
know?
I don't. I think the Yankees have every. I mean, they're gonna most likely make a run. I mean,
Yep.
the AL's always been wide open,
I mean,
especially
everybody in the AL Central is under 500, right?
yeah. I mean, there's been real competition in the AL for them since the Astros, and the Astros haven't been them. Like past few years, they're barely even winning their division. So for me to be like, oh, the Yankees, oh, like yeah, I didn't love their deadline, but they're gonna like all they have to do is get there, and because you can't even guarantee that the Dodgers are gonna get there, but like. I don't like the lineup they're putting out. They're gonna whatever they think they can finagle and Boone's gonna draw up against the Dodgers right now in a World Series. Like with what they have right now, I don't like it because no matter what, Wells or McMahon is in that lineup, and you have a hole in that lineup.
Yep. I mean, they're going to have to start Ahmad Rosario, who's not a bad player, but he's not an everyday player anymore. He can play third base. But again, whatever you're gaining offensively, the McMahon's in the lineup because he's a great fielder. He's a great third baseman, but he can't hit a lick. He can't hit a lick, and it's been that way for a while now. So maybe Lombard gives them some juice. Maybe these new guys, find a spot.
It's
I
baseball.
don't know.
It's baseball. Anything can happen, and
Sure.
if it's another Yankees Dodgers World Series, I will not be happy. But
I know who you'll be rooting for.
I don't even. I'll be rooting for an early lockout.
Oh boy.
I'll watch it. I mean, it's still baseball. Baseball is baseball at the end of the day. Hopefully, we get a good postseason run.
Yep.
Need some entertainment because it won't be the Mets.
No, it will not. No, it
But
will not.
it's been another great show. The Gotham Sports Machine. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, TikTok, wherever you want to get your podcast, get your sports content from me and Mark Healy over here. And we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy, Jack.
See ya.